Now in business, the fight for sugar in Nigeria has gotten a bit dirty. In January, Dangote Sugar PLC, supported by Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC, accused rival BUA International Limited of skirting the backward integration policy of the National Sugar Development Council (NSDC) by setting up a sugar refinery in Port Harcourt. BUA Sugar, in the response in February, took serious exception to the ludicrous claims by its two major competitors that it aims to circumvent the BIP of the sugar industry and said it has invested billions of naira in the backward integration policy of the government. The company has three sugar holdings in Nigeria, namely a 720,000 metric ton sugar refinery in Lagos, a 20,000 hectare Lafiaji sugar plantation, an ethanol production complex, and an 850,000 metric tons export-focused sugar refinery in Port Harcourt. To help us make sense of this is corporate lawyer Dara Lanlehin from the Law Chambers of Adikpetu, Caxton, Martins, Agbo and Shegun. Thank you so much for joining us on News Central now.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
All right, now to break it down for us, is it right for the competition to make such a complaint to the Ministry of Trade?
So, first of all, we should examine the background or the reason for the complaint. And the reason behind it was Dangote and Flour Mills are accusing BUA Group of undue advantage by establishing the refinery in Port Harcourt. Meanwhile, BUA Group in its rejoinder is saying that Dangote and Flour Mills are just trying to maintain a monopoly on sugar in Nigeria, and that the establishment of the refinery will end up driving down sugar prices, which is something Dangote and Flour Mills do not want. Now, we look at the refinery. It was established in a free trade zone area. Approved enterprises in a free trade zone area are allowed to have 100% of their production sold in customs territory, subject to obtaining the applicable licenses and paying the applicable duties for that customs territory. At the same time, the purpose of an export free trade zone area is to enable companies that are situated there to export without being subject to any bureaucracy or customs duties. So it's a win-win situation because on one hand, they can export, which is the primary reason for the refinery in Port Harcourt. They can export, but at the same time, if they wish, they can also sell to Nigerians, so sell locally.
Okay, I know sugar is very important here. What exactly do you think are the repercussions for the consumer in this situation?
So the repercussions are just if this war goes on, it's going to be a huge price increase. Nigeria imports majority of its sugar needs. The needs of Nigeria are 1.7 million metric tons. Meanwhile, capacity production is about 30,000 metric tons based on figures released by the Nigerian National Sugar Development Council in 2018. At the same time, the cost of importing this amount of sugar in 2018 of importing the 1.216 million metric tons of sugar in 2018, the cost of it was about $331 million. When that is juxtaposed with the fact that Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves are $34.74 billion in March 2021, you can already see that it's a huge drain on Nigeria's foreign reserves. And at the same time, the high cost of importation is going to be reflected in the prices to the consumer. So that is the major issue. And then if you study the various sugar productions, the local sugar productions, most of them, the smaller ones were set up with loans from foreign companies. Based on foreign exchange fluctuations, coronavirus, they haven't been able to repay their loans as of 2021. There's a particular one, the Gronia Sugar Project in Sokoto. It was only able to pay 15% of the amount of money it raised from a foreign company to get machinery. So 75% or 85% is still outstanding.
Okay, Dara, you've listed huge repercussions because of this war going on. But is there anything that the Consumer Protection Agency can do in this situation?
Well, they have the powers to study whether there has been an abuse of a dominant position and a monopoly. They're able to request all sorts of records, documentation that they need to obtain. They don't need a search warrant to search premises to get this information. And if a company or undertakings are found guilty of abusing their dominant position in the market or price fixing to the disadvantage of the consumer, the fines are huge, 10%, at least 10% of the guilty party's turnover in the preceding year. A company with billions of naira in turnover, 10% of that, their turnover, would come up to a huge amount. So the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Agency or Commission has that power to investigate and sanction. And any director of the guilty undertaking will be subject to either 3 years imprisonment or a 50 million naira fine or a combination of both. So they do have the power of investigation and sanction.
All right. Thank you so much, Dara. We do hope that the relevant agencies and, of course, stakeholders will do all that is needed to put everything in order. Thank you so much for making so much sense out of this topic at hand.